You found our show, so come on in and take a seat. Warrior class, we got the keys. Dun, 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 dun. To get you where you need to be, just study our show, and you're gonna grow like crazy. Watching you will see. Dun, 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 dun. Warrior class, we got the keys, just watch our show, 'cause it's for you and your babies.
Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whoop ass.
And you will too.
If you pass.
All right. This is the Religion and Self-Defense, Faith, Force, and the Right to Survive episode.
Hello.
We're going to get into it. But first, Omaniki's going to give us the news.
I love how this is like on me now. Thank you. I just wanted to I need to write my news down. I always think I got it in my head, and then we get here and I don't know what happened. But one thing that that happened to me this week that I think that we all are probably, it's probably on everyone's minds is
You froze on me, Nikki.
Can you see me now? Can you hear me now, Baba?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, cool. Is the presence of ICE in many different cities, this immigration force, and the fact that they were supposedly somewhere in a close community in Georgia. So of course, everyone has been seeing this in the news recently, but I took the time to actually sit down with my family who I live with and talk with them about, what an interaction actually looks like if for some reason someone were at our door. What precautions do we need to be taking right now? And what an interaction would be. So I decided to talk with some people who I'm around a lot, some of my coworkers, about what an interaction like that might be for them. And also if that has been something that they've taken time to discuss with their families. What I found was that, of course, none of them had really talked with their families about it. And I got a lot of sort of tough talk, some of the, they have firearms and, this and that's not going to happen. And, all of this, but no real like strategy, no real, example of a conversation that they had or any thought out plan whatsoever about, what could happen. I think that a lot of people, and based on what they were saying, I'm basing this on what they were saying. A lot of people are still thinking that, well, they don't have any business coming here, so they're not going to come here. Like they don't have any reason to be here, so nothing could possibly happen to me. Ignoring the fact that we work in the city, So I just think, in the spirit of keeping your head on swivel, we definitely want to be discussing this. We definitely want to bring this to our families, because a lot of our families, we talked about this is like the echo chamber, but a lot of our families are not in this echo chamber with us. And it's a real conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to talk about this interview that I had seen with this Urugu journalist. He's well known, but I'm not going to mention his name. But he spoke with three fairly prominent African leaders, and basically, was questioning them. It was interesting, the questions that he chose to ask. It seems very much like, as we've seen this week with some other posts and different things that the empire has rolled out, that he was like probing them, trying to get like information. I think not that information is not available, but he wants to see what they're actually going to say when being questioned. So he asked them about the birth rates in their country, and how they keep such a high birth rate, or how they such a robust birth rate in their country. And it was interesting, the eldest of the leaders, like the answers that he was giving, they were just so wise. Like, he was not giving the guy anything. He wasn't giving him any information. He wasn't giving him any energy, with his responses. He just basically answered each question the way that he wanted to. He also, another question that he asked them was about the I remember the last question that he asked was about Venezuela, and how they felt about what happened in Venezuela. Now, the questions that he's asking leading up to that are almost like veiled threats. But when he asked about Venezuela, it was very obvious what he was getting at. Like, if you don't fall in line, obviously this can happen to you too. And the fact that he's talking to three African leaders, what looms large in the background that he doesn't even have to ask is about the bombings that they were recently doing in Nigeria, which is like a week before what happened in Venezuela. So, it's just, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and we really should be paying attention. But that's it. That's all I have.
All right. Well, we're going to get into the show then. Let me start with a conversation that still sticks with me. My wife and I were talking about spookism, the habit of turning symbols, practices, or whole cultures into imagined threats. And it reminded me of a discussion I once had with a brother in the ROTC in college at Howard while we were traveling to Fort Belvoir. He asked me straight up, "Are you an atheist?" I asked him why. He said, "Because you're a martial artist. Martial arts are satanic. You're a good brother, so I know you're not a Satanist, and you're not ignorant, so you must be an atheist." So I asked the obvious question, what's satanic about martial arts? And he said, completely serious, because y'all meditate like this. He held up the double horns. That moment sums up a belief a lot of people carry, whether they admit it or not, that religion is anti-self-defense and that martial arts skill is inherently evil. Tonight, well, this afternoon, we're going to challenge that idea thoroughly. All right. And when he said y'all meditate like this, I said, well, number one, that is an Eastern hand symbol. It's not African. It don't have nothing to do with Africa. And I said, I don't even think Eastern people meditate like this either, holding hands like that.
That's just
So,
ignorant.
yeah, it was just ignorance. All right.
Across cultures and faiths, religions generally emphasize peace, compassion, and restraint. But almost none of them teach submission to injustice or passive acceptance of violence. Instead, most traditions balance peace with an ethical allowance and sometimes a duty to defend yourself, your family, the oppressed, and the innocent. Self defense is rarely framed as cruelty, it's framed as preserving life. Let's start with Christianity. Christian views on violence tend to fall into two camps: strict pacifism on one side and just war theory on the other. But even among Christians who emphasize peace, there is a consistent thread. Defending life is not the same as promoting violence. Many Christians see the body as a temple, something sacred that should not be surrendered to destruction. And the Bible is and the Bible is not shy about the reality of force. Jesus himself said, when a strong man, fully armed, guards his house, his possessions are safe, which is in Luke 11:21. The scriptures are full of armed protectors: an angel with a flaming sword guarding Eden, an armed angel confronting Balaam, the commander of the Lord's host appearing to Joshua, sword drawn. The Mosaic law explicitly allowed lethal force in defense of one's home. David didn't defeat Goliath with a prayer alone. He trained with a sling, the assault weapon of his time. Abraham, the father of faith, maintained 318 trained men in his household and led them in a rescue mission to free enslaved family members. And after that battle, he was blessed, not condemned. When Nehemiah rebuilt Jerusalem under threat of attack, the people prayed, and then they armed themselves. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon in the other. Faith and defense were not opposites, they were partners. Even in the New Testament, Jesus tells his followers, whoever does not have a sword must sell his cloak and buy one. That's in Luke 22:36. Christian teachings condemns violence used for revenge, hatred, or domination, but not defense. Because allowing murder, rape, or cruelty to happen when you could have stopped it is not righteousness. Not resisting evil is evil. Not resisting evil is itself evil.
Now, Islam is even more explicit. The Quran permits fighting only for self-defense and against oppression, and it strictly forbids transgression or harm to innocents. Surah Al-Hajj, verse 39 says, permission is given to those who are fought against because they have been wronged. Surah Al-Baqarah adds, fight in the cause of Allah those who fight you. Islamic ethics center on protecting 5 essentials: life, honor, intellect, property, and religion. Allowing yourself to be harmed when you can prevent it is not piety, it's negligence. If someone defends themselves, their family, or their home and dies in the process, they are considered a shaheed, a martyr. Self-defense is not just allowed in Islam, it is a moral obligation.
Sikhism offers one of the clearest models of spiritual self-defense. Sikhs are taught to exhaust peaceful options first, but when violence threatens the innocent, defense becomes sacred duty. Every baptized Sikh carries a kirpan, a ceremonial dagger. It's not a weapon of aggression, it's a symbol. It represents a responsibility to defend the weak, the oppressed, and freedom itself. The kirpan is only drawn when all peaceful means fail. Historically, Sikhs trained in Gatka, a martial arts system developed to resist Mongol oppression. Military service wasn't a contradiction to spirituality, it was an expression of it. Sikhism teaches that war is tragic, but sometimes necessary. Peace is the goal, but justice is the line you do not cross.
And we had a student that was a Sikh. She was black, but she was a Sikh. She was married to a Sikh, and she was 64. And I trained her with the middle staff, which the walking stick or middle staff. And shit, I was driving down the street one day and saw her walking, and she was walking with the stick. So she was using that, stick not for balance, but to protect herself.
Ready.
Right. Now let's talk about Ifa, which I'm a priest of. Right. In the Ifa corpus, there are 256 Odu, which is our bodies of knowledge, each containing generations of wisdom, strategy, ethics, psychology, and survival. Ifa doesn't deal in absolutes, it deals in context. Divinations may tell you avoid the fight, train for the fight, retreat, deceive, strike, or wait. Avoidance is considered the highest level of martial skill, but when defense is necessary, Ifa teaches never meet force with force, rely on speed, positioning, trickery, and advantage. Some examples. Osara Oba teaches cowards give way to grief. Okanno Ogunda says speed invites Ogun's assistance in battle. Ogunda Obara reminds us that, and these are all Odus, Osara Obara, Okanno Ogunda, Ogunda Obara, reminds us that even victory demands sacrifice and restraint. Ifa doesn't glorify violence, it teaches how to survive it without losing yourself.
Across Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, and Ifa, the message is consistent. Self-defense is not evil. Training is not sinful. Strength is not satanic. What's condemned is cruelty, ego, domination, and unjust aggression. Martial arts at their best are about discipline, restraint, awareness, and protection. They are not a rejection of faith. They are often an expression of it.
So the next time someone says martial arts is satanic because of meditation, movement, or self-control, remember, every major religion on earth understands one simple truth. Life is sacred. And sometimes protecting it requires skill. Now, in Ifa, if somebody says what we're doing is satanic, we pay that no attention because we don't subscribe to Satan and hell. We don't subscribe to those concepts, right? But, and I don't think Sikhism does either, but Christianity and Islam certainly do. If you're a martial artist and you're a Christian, or you're a martial artist and you're a Muslim, that's not satanic. It's not satanic at all. It is something that you have done because it's necessary to protect yourself, your loved ones, your community. So keep working at it.
Right. And I think a lot of the thing, like we talked about, what you discussed earlier, was just based in ignorance. And I think some of that comes from like yoga too. They think like meditation and yoga is satanic. So somehow that, is transferred over to martial arts as well. But I think that a lot of some of that nonviolence kind of comes from, the civil rights movement, to be honest, the whole nonviolent stance there. So many people take that and, decide that that is the best way to do anything, to approach any kind of aggression. You're supposed to be nonviolent, which of course makes no sense. But for some reason, I guess the enemy propped that up so much to make people think that that was the key and the solution, not to ever fight back. So that now that's what so many of our people especially think, that, you're somehow violence is just the most abhorrent thing. That video has been circulating around with Baba Kwame Ture, where he is giving a speech, and there's a young brother who looks like he's probably was in college at the time, and he comes up to the mic and he just says, I think violence is ignorant, or he said some very strong statements about violence. And then he just turned around to walk away. But, Kwame Ture questioned him. So he came back to the mic, and Kwame Ture at first asked him a question that he had a hard time with. So he asked him very simply, he said, if you are enslaved and the only way for you to be free is if you kill your master, then would that be evil? And I mean, obviously he just kind of walked away from the mic after that, the young man did, because it's obvious what the answer is to that. Like, if someone is attacking your family, if someone's attacking you, then nonviolence is not the answer.
You know, I've never been approached with that, but of course, I know martial artists who have been approached with, why you violent, except for that brother in college. Now he was saying, that the hand position meditation is satanic and stuff like that. I said, okay, well, if that's satanic, what about the techniques that I do? What about, the weapons that I train with every morning on the football field? What about? And he said, well, that's different. That's, that's for defending yourself. But when you add in the meditation, I said, well, number one, in the African arts, we have moving meditation. We don't just sit and meditate like yum, 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 yum. Now there's value in that, but we don't do that. We have moving meditation. So I'm meditating in how I respond to the actions of others, or how I respond to the world, to the environment. He didn't have any answer for that. I had a brother who is an atheist tell me one time, you do this religion stuff, damn the religion, damn the ancestors, damn. I said, number one, let me explain something to you. I'm not a Christian, so you can say damn hell, damn the religion, damn the answer. You can say all of that. I don't care what you say. It's not going to change what I believe. But when you say stuff like, what do you say? He said, he said, where does the rapist go, and where does the good man go? I said, in the ground. They both go in the ground when they die. I said, in the ground. Mm-hmm. You become food for the environment, for the worms, for the trees, for the that's where your body goes.
Yeah, bro.
If you're talking about where the spirit goes, well, that's debatable. And he's a scientist. So I say, and you know spirit because you say energy, which spirit is energy, is neither, what do you say, neither transformed or
Created or destroyed.
or created or destroyed. I said, so you know that energy is neither transformed or destroyed. You know that it's actual. You know that our bodies are driven by that energy. When we die, and we'll do an episode on death and what it is. But when we die, that's the end of our energy in our bodies. But it's not the end of the energy. The energy is neither transformed nor destroyed. Now, we didn't have 2 episodes of Warrior Class because my mother passed. She passed on the 27th.
Condolences, Baba. Again,
Thank you.
that's a hard loss.
Yes. There was, so my mother in the physical is gone. There's no physical of her coming back like that. But in the spirit, well, in Ifa, we know she's alive. And in science or whatever, because you know that the energy is not destroyed.
Right.
Okay? And thank you all. When we say rest in power, if we rest, that means we're doing something. If we rest in power, that means we actualize something, power, right? So she may rest, but she still has power. Power can move things. Power can make things happen. So as far as Ifa and martial arts and religion, they're all one. There's no separating any of the traditional African martial arts from religion. There's no separating the Eastern martial arts from religion. I remember I went to a friend's class. He has a Kuksul Wan school, which is a Korean martial art. And they were all, bowing. He said, bow to the Korean flag, bow to the American flag. This is bullshit. And bow to Cook Sanem, who is the head of the Kuksul Wan Association. And I'm like, and the brother's a Muslim. I said, I'm surprised that you're doing that because Muslims don't bow to anyone but Allah. He says, yeah, but when we're doing the martial arts, I said, there's no separation of religion from the martial arts. Any martial art that you're doing. Any. When people do Krav Maga, we say Krav Maga, right? The Israeli martial art, I'm sure they have some Israeli Israeli spirituality in that martial art. I don't know. And I purposely didn't include Krav Maga in this episode because I don't know what they do as far as spirituality is concerned. But I'm sure there has to be something of Judaism or whatever. Yeah, Judaism. I'm sure that it has to be in that religion. I mean, in that martial art. No. Eugene Mason said mind over matter. Yes, that's always, that's in everything we do. Everything. If I remember I had a conversation with a brother who's a Muslim. He said, man, one time we used to be able to move objects with our minds. I said, well, we can still move objects with our mind. We have to do that. He said, what you mean? I said, okay, I tell my mind to pick up, it was a cup of coffee. I tell my mind to pick up this coffee. And my mind works until it works in my brain, because your mind is not your brain. Your brain is part of your mind, but I said, my mind tells my brain to pick up that cup, then signals from my brain go to the nerves in my hand, and boom, I pick up the cup, then I can drink or whatever I'm going to do with the cup. He said, no, that's not it. I said, that is it. That is it. That is your mind moving objects.
You wanted spooky. You wanted to be spooky.
Right. I said, now, if you're talking about spookism, and we talked about spookism first in this, if you want to deal with spookism, one, you didn't live back then when we used to move objects with our mind. So you wouldn't know that. You didn't have any proof of that. Okay. But if we want to deal with that, spookism, just move this object with my mind, and it's going to move without me touching it. You got to show me that. You got to show me evidence of that. Because if it existed 1,000 years ago, it exists now in us. Okay? And I could see the wheels working in his mind. He cannot deliver proof. Because his mind could not affect matter in that way. Because he knows, nobody has ever done that. But we have moved objects with our mind. Like I just did now. We move swords with our mind. We move bats with our mind. We move sticks. We move scalpels with our mind. That's mind over matter, right? And a lot of times we say mind over matter. We're talking mind over matter, because this is matter too. Well, if my mind tells me to punch a dude in the face, and I know how to deliver a punch, boom, I hit him in the face. Mine could tell somebody else to punch who has no training at all to punch somebody in the face. They'll punch them, and you've seen this in TV. They punch the person, and they ooh, ow, ooh, ha, ha, like they broke their knuckles or something. First of all, when you break your knuckles, and I've broken a knuckle here, and I broke it on a dude's head. The dude was coming at a person, and I defended the person. Boom! I hit him. Boom! He flipped over. He was coming at a woman. Boom! Hit him. He flipped over. Boom! And I was like, "Get up, punk, get up!" I was praying he did not get up, because my hand was so jacked up at that point. And I'm trained. I hit that dude so hard that he flipped over and it broke my hand. It's called a boxer's fracture. I broke the ring finger. That's why my ring finger is my knuckle is smaller than the other knuckles. It's really not smaller than it's sunken in. But the knuckle of this hand was way back here. And I was praying, please don't get up, but I was faking it. So I was like, get up, punk, get up, get up. I give you another one. I give you another one. I was like, please don't let this dude get up. If he had gotten up, I'd have just hit him with the other hand and not as hard. But after that, he didn't get up. After that, I said, yeah. And I went to the hospital after that. And they're like, you got a boxer's fracture. And I had to have my hand, I had to have my hand in a cast. So your mind can work over matter, but it has to work to the level that you're at, or you endanger yourself. So now, with a punch, or with a punch. Yeah, I was just keeping on a punch. When we punch with our entire fist. So that allows my mind to punch harder because it's back. My knuckles are backed by the fist. Okay, by the whole fist. Now, in some arts, they just hit with these two knuckles.
Oh, that seems so dangerous.
Your mind's not going to let you deliver a punch at your full power like that. It's not. It's not. In Kung Fu arts, they punch with the bottom three knuckles, which is more dangerous because these knuckles are, well, this is the largest knuckle, but these two knuckles here are small. They can really get damaged. So in Kung Fu, you gonna punch even softer than karate. We punch with the entire hand. Okay.
They got that chi with the Kung Fu though, Bible.
Now, on that, so I had a dude tell me one time, and I know this dude, well, after that, I got to know him through Kalanji, as a matter of fact. But this dude, not it wasn't Kalanji. It was I got to know him through Kalanji. This dude told me I was at the Malcolm X Festival doing demonstrations, right? He said, "Man," and what I would do, and they banned me from the Malcolm X Festival because of this. I would say, and me and my student, I say, we're taking on all comers, boxers, wrestlers, jiu-jitsu, whatever. We're taking on all comers. So, and never lost a fight. Never even came close to losing a fight. But this dude, he's a Kung Fu dude. And he told me, if you can get past all this chi that I got, then I'll be amazed. Nobody can get past my chi. In 10 seconds, I got past his chi. I said, okay, well, let's go at it. In 10 seconds, I had him on the ground hollering for me to stop. 10 seconds. I got past all that chi that he got. All that stuff. Now that is, I say that's not even spirituality or whatever. That is mythology and mysticism wrapped up in arts. I had a friend close friend of mine. Yes, I had a close friend of mine believe that the Chinese used to be able to actually, and still some can run on like the leaves and stuff like they did in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He said that, you know, they were able to do that. I said, and the African who has lived here longer than everybody else, he never figured that out, how to do that. But the Asian did. The Chinese specifically, figured out how to run up on these leaves, make their body weightless. Come on, man.
Well, it's because they moving so fast, Baba. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that's what makes the physics work out, because they moving fast.
But their god of martial arts, Bruce Lee, he couldn't run on no leaves, and he was fast as hell, but he couldn't run on no leaves. What happened? At some point, we lost the ability to run on the leaves, make our body that light. Ooh, boy.
Well, he was pretty light. He probably could run on leaves.
he can run and leave. I can run and leave too.
Let's see. I don't think we shouted out the chat yet.
Yeah.
Greetings, Jadarian. Good brother Eugene Mason. What is that, Baba? What's after
Eugene Mason? No, Eugene Mason said parasites can only survive off your energy source.
Right, and the person who commented directly after that.
Yao, let me see. Yao Ofiriwa. Ya Oforiwa.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome.
I believe your name. I believe you've been here before, though.
Yeah, I think so. Manuel Briggs.
Rabbit Von Doom. That's an interesting name. King Duck. And Detroit Showtime. I know that's right. Oh, and I Manifesto. What's up, brother? How are you?
Peace.
Y'all. We appreciate y'all supporting us.
Yes. So anybody have any other martial arts that they like to discuss the spirituality of? Now, I started to include Kali, but Kali is I did. Kali is rooted strongly in Christianity.
Really?
Yes, except in some Kali martial arts, they have what do they call it? It's still rooted in Catholicism, but it's called it eludes me, but they use incantations.
Okay. It sounds like the devil, but okay.
Yeah, they use incantations against their enemy. And also, indigenous arts do use incantation against the enemy. There's a story written by a Caucasian who went to Senegal, and he went there. He does pakwa. No, not pakwa. Silat. He does Indonesian art, and he says, "Man, I went there, and so at first he was wrecking like the young boys. He didn't say young boy, but I know it was young boys. He was wrecking with his salat. But then they called the village champion to fight him. And he tries to do some job to the village champion, and the village champion lifts him up, right? And so he figured he's going to get thrown, and then he's going to, okay, I get thrown, and I'm going to work this dude. He said, but the dude, instead of throwing him, the dude pulled him close and whispered in his ear, incantation. And then he said everything went black. And he woke up. He was on the ground. He was on the ground. The crowd was, he was knocked him out with incantation.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, incantations, you can't do that when Lam wrestlers are wrestling each other, they can't use incantation against each other. But it can be used on an opponent, like not an opponent like in the ring, but an opponent on the street.
Yeah, bro.
But only certain masters can do that. Yeah.
What was
now,
the
can I use incantation to knock somebody out? Yeah, I can say I'm gonna knock you out, and then I hit the person in the head and knock him out. Yes. What are the origins of martial arts training amongst African Americans post World War II? Post World War II, amongst African Americans, the only African American art that I know of is 52 Blocks. Well, no, it's not. 52 Blocks and Kubagani and Gumi. But I'm sure other people have delved into doing that. But Kubagani and Gumi, so I know several martial artists from that. Now, I know a couple of martial artists who do Kubagani and Gumi who went to Africa and learned actual African martial arts, and they combined the two. But most do karate, kung fu, and bando, and they use African terminology. But now 52 Blocks, I know two camps of 52 Blocks. So 52 Blocks defensive art, that comes from American boxing and Chinese martial arts. That's like from Light Burley's group. Then there's another group like they do on the West Coast. They're 52 Blocks that has an African root. And you can see it. In fact, and the martial art here in Georgia, Stato. And people say, that those martial arts came from prison. No, they were developed in prison to fit prison too, but they came from the streets. And then before the streets, they came from martial artists, particularly African martial arts. So Stato, I met a brother who does Stato. We were at the bus stop, and some of y'all have heard the story. I was working with a student on knife techniques. And we don't have like knife defense techniques. We have knife against knife techniques, or sword against knife, or stick against knife. But we don't just have you with your bare hands unless it is absolutely necessary. You don't have a choice. But those techniques come from weapon against weapon techniques. But anyway, so I'm working with a student of mine with the knife. He's working with a knife. I got a knife. And this dude walks up and he says, "Hey, can I see one of those knives?" We had wooden knives. So I said, "Sure." He said, "Will you work with me?" I said, "Sure." And I'm figuring I'm just going to run roughshod over him like most people like who do karate or whatever. They say, "Hey, I know knife defense. I know I'm going to whoop their ass." Well, I got with him and he's moving like I'm moving. So I know it's not even Filipino martial arts. I said, whoa, what is this? He said, "Oh, I just learned, some art from prison." I said, "Wait a minute, you did this in prison here in Georgia?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "My art comes from Africa." And we both just started crying because we realized that what he was doing was African martial arts, but translated into the way they would use it in prison.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm about to cry now. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, it was deep.
Yeah.
And to bring stuff full circle, he said, "Hey, I want to give you," because he was the DVD man, selling bootleg DVDs. He said, "I want to give you this," and it was the Dead Prayers album, the first album, "Let's Get Free." About 6 months after that, maybe a year, my student Okulaja became the instructor for Stickman, who's one of the members of Dead Prayers, which means I became his instructor as well. So it all came full circle. And I told him the story. I said, "Man, a brother that I met on the street who sold bootleg DVDs and CDs, he gave me your CD, because I worked with him on martial arts and I told him about African martial arts. Now, I never saw that brother again, but brother, if you're watching the show, you could come to my class. I'll give you a year free lessons.
No, trustfully, he's out there somewhere.
Yep.
That story reminded me of it's funny because I've heard that story before, but I never thought about this. I saw a video of a filmmaker who talked about when he was making this film, how he went into the village. He was in Africa doing his research. He went into the village. I think he let some young men from like the hotel he was staying in take him out. They said, "We're gonna take you to this ritual, that we do all the time." So they took him to this house. He said when he came to the house, it was like a bunch of older men out on the front porch, so they greeted them. Then they went into the living room and it was younger men in the living room talking and, sharing stories and all that. I think it was, no, I think it was more men in the living room. Then he went back into the kitchen. It was women in the kitchen cooking food and talking, And then he said they went into the backyard and it was older men in the backyard grilling food and drinking beer. And he was like, "What ritual is this?" He asked them and they were like, he was like, they were like, "I don't know. We just, this is the ritual we do every weekend." He was like, "Yeah, we got a ritual like this in America. We do something just like this." And his point of the story was that we were always African. Like we feel like, what I'm saying, that somehow that was transported away from us when that's just, who we are. So no matter if you're in prison or if you, wherever you are, especially if you're developing a way to defend yourself, there's a certain way of being that is going to translate into that, from us. So I just thought about that while you were talking.
Even when, like, you hear the foundational Black Americans or ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, talk about, we originated hip hop and jazz and blues. I was like, number one, now Americans probably did originate jazz, certainly originated hip hop, but blues comes directly from Africa.
Yeah, bro.
And blues is the root of those other
Right.
other musical types. So blues comes directly from Africa. There's a uh, artist. I have his album. I can't remember his name. He's from Senegal, and he does this song. A lot of the songs, but he does this song. God damn, what's his name? But he does this song called. No, I think he's from Mali. Actually, yeah, he's from Mali, I think. But he does a song called "Faro Bana," and it's Make Labina Faro Bana Make Ki Panabina something Faro Bana Ile Madu Metanye Ile just the riffs and stuff he's doing are straight blues. And it's a traditional song about a woman who marries this man from her village. It's called Faro Bana.
Yeah, I tried to look it up, but I don't think I'm doing it. Right.
Foro, one word, Bana, Bana, Faro Bana.
You said Bana?
Yes, Faro Bana.
Is it Habib Koiti?
Yes, that's it. Habib Koite.
Habib Koiti. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out later.
So that is now when it comes to 52 blocks, like I was saying earlier, when I was asked about, the martial arts after World War II in America, that's a question. There was a martial, he's passed. He passed last year. Diallo Frazier, who does 52 blocks, West Coast style. It was nice. And there's a video of him and Light Burley training together. And it is excellent. It's excellent. It's excellent. We at one time had a partnership with the brother. So I'm friends with the brother Wise Morrow, who does. He is like the preeminent person in 52 blocks in Atlanta. We did a workshop together. I do these workshops called Day with the Masters, and I bring in another master with me, and then or master or masters with me from other arts, and we do a day of martial arts. He does 52 blocks with another from another branch of guys that from Fleetwood Mac, who Fleetwood Mac has passed too, but he's a master under him. So there are several 52 blocks branches. Some have an African root, some just claim boxing root, but boxing actually has an African root. So, well, Queensberry rules boxing. So, well, both boxing, but actually, when they box like this originally, that actually comes from Chinese martial arts. Then Queensberry rules, they start using the footwork, the head movements, and things like that. That's an African root. And that's what the world does now. Is used to seeing now. That's African rooted. When you see head movement, foot movement, a lot of footwork, especially a lot of footwork, and it's rhythmic, that has an African root. Capoeira has an African root. It's not African, but it has an African root. And you can see that in how they move, you know, with the head, the feet, and everything.
Baba,
Hello, album. I don't know who that is. Huh?
what's the name of the
Hello, album. Oh, what are you talking about? Koite album, yes. You said what now?
the name of the martial art that was practiced in I can only remember from The Walking Dead, the one who he had like I guess it was a bow staff too. He taught Morgan.
Yes.
What was what
They did karate, the karate bow.
that was karate?
Yes.
I
So
thought
whenever you say bow staff, that's karate anyway.
oh, I thought it was some kind of non-violent some kind of like art that emphasized non-violence.
It may have been that there's some karate arts that emphasize nonviolence, but while hitting you in the head with a stick,
Right.
nonviolent, while hitting you in the head with a stick. No, it wasn't Aikido. Aikido doesn't use a bow staff. Aikido uses a Joe staff.
Okay, that's what I meant though.
The Joe is okay, but the Joe is 4 feet long.
Oh, okay.
But Morgan used like a 6 feet long or 8 feet long staff.
Oh, okay. So they were
that's a bow, and that they call it a bow. That's a bow, and that is in the Japanese arts that comes from karate. In Aikido, they use a Jo staff, which is based on the sword, and that's 4 feet long.
Yeah, he was I remember he was teaching him I'm pretty sure it was Aikido, in the show. Teaching him the principles or whatever. So I thought about that actually when this show topic came up. That 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 they had a certain slant on spirituality, even though they seem to be trying to at least practice a martial art.
Now, earlier somebody said, yeah, the enemy loves us, loves
nonviolent,
pacifism, nonviolent martial art. Yeah, of course they do.
Mm-hmm.
If I met somebody and they were and we're in a violent encounter, and they say, "Well, I turn the other cheek. I turn the other cheek on your ass." I would love that because I'm not going to turn the other cheek until I walk away after I knock him out. Then he could watch my ass walking away, so I turn both cheeks around. But he just had the philosophy of nonviolence as first resort. Yeah. So I'll talk from the African perspective. The African perspective is not nonviolence, it's lack of violence as a first resort. You can get very violent, but it's lack of violence as a first resort. And then my second resort, I got to get violent. If it's a third resort, I got to get more violent. Fourth resort, more violent. So you can up your levels of violence as well. But to be non-violent, that's a pacifist, and I don't subscribe to pacifism, and I suggest you all don't subscribe to pacifism either. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be dangerous, you know, and then choose not to if it
Right.
fits. But
Right.
you don't want to not be able to do anything, and that's why you're saying
Right.
that you're nonviolent.
Now, I can use nonviolence as a strategy if I'm out and the street's busy and a person says, nigger, nigger to me. I'll probably slap fire out this mug, but if I'm on a busy street, I'd be like, what? You talking to me? I play it off, nonviolence. Do you have recommendations for martial arts in the north? In the north, what? It was northern, but it was cut off.
The day
Is
of
it
Bermuda?
northern United States, Northern Ireland, northern uh,
Mm-mm-mm.
northern China? What is it?
Do
A
you have a
computer?
you have
Or
a
in the
northern?
northeast?
No,
You're
okay.
talking about New York, or well,
Philly.
he would probably say New York, but northeast is Connecticut, uh, Delaware. Um, yes, but I won't name them all here. What I'll do is so you can hit me up. So you can hit us up on either African Martial Arts Institute on Facebook in a private message or on Instagram on Warrior Class. African Martial Arts Institute on Instagram too, or Warrior Class BPM on Instagram, and let me know what state you're from, or specifically what city you're from, and then I can let you know. Because I have some people who you can work with in the Northeast, but I got to know which state it is and specifically which city. Now, you all heard me mention Diallo Frazier, who comes from LA, does 52 blocks. Um, I named him because he passed. And I named Wise Morrow because Wise Morrow is cool with me. And so if you want to do 52 blocks, you can do 52 blocks. So we name some people sometimes, like James Herndon in the East Coast. I mean, the West Coast. Um, he's bad. He's bad. And he does a hybrid art. So he does a hybrid of small circle jujitsu and Jeet Kune Do.
Mm.
I say he's the most effective Jeet Kune Do stylist I've ever seen. I've seen some effective Jeet Kune Do stylists. Well, him and Danny Nasanto. Danny Nasanto also does Filipino martial arts. White people spread plague from Ukraine 5,000 years ago. The Bible is about Indo-European spreading plague from Eurasia. Yersinia persists again in the bubonic plague of 1300 CE. All right, I don't know what that has to do with this episode, but okay, yeah. This is the most, I guess I have to do some research on some of the stuff. This is the most informative show on this platform. Baba, your wisdom is transformative. I am truly grateful. Much respect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, there's a lot of wisdom shared on this platform. So you saying that it comes with great meaning. Thank you. Jews, white people don't want us to know how they have been spreading I guess the plague once again for the past 5,000 years.
I'm not seeing that.
It's down here. It's on Facebook. Jews, white people don't want
Oh,
us to know how they have been spreading for the past 5,000 years. Um, okay. Uh, look up Christensen or Ask AI or both. Brittany said, "Oh Lord."
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Brittany.
Yeah. Hey, I don't. So I try to deal in facts, not truths. There's a difference between truth and fact. Um, like I said, I have to research what you're saying, Vincent, because uh, and I will research what you're saying because I gotta know that that's a fact. And you all should deal in facts. Now we all have truths that we deal with or struggle with or whatever you want. Um, we all have those, but there are facts in this world. There are fact, like the brother who, when I talked about him saying, "Was I an atheist?" Because he was dealing with the truth. To him, this is how people meditate, and it's satanic. But he said, I'm a good person, so I'm not satanic. So I must be an atheist. Both of those things were false. Number one, this hand signal alone isn't nothing about Satan. But if you wanted to say that, I've never seen nobody meditate like this. That's number one. It was several falsehoods in what he said, but number two, we don't. I do African martial arts. We don't meditate sitting down or staring at a wall like this, and we don't do that.
I think those are sutras. And that's what I was saying. I'm thinking he's coming from the yoga side. They do like
Well,
sutras and stuff.
yeah. But he was saying it was martial arts too. He said specifically it's martial arts, and he said, I'm a good guy, so I must be an atheist. Then I'm not an atheist either. Even when I was in college, and felt that all religions, because I was ignorant, I was ignorant myself in college. I didn't know all religions.
Right.
But I felt that all religions had been used as weapons against black people to enslave us or weaken us or whatever.
Right.
Okay. I've changed that view on many religions, many forms of spirituality. I still have that view on some religions, but most I've changed it. Thank you. I respect. If I'm wrong, you have my permission to expose me as a fraud. I wouldn't do that. This is my real name. I graduated from Wesleyan University in Connecticut. You have my permission to expose me for sharing fake info. I would never do that unless you were rude in how you came at us.
Yeah, Bob. Bob, I was gonna say.
So salute, Kalanji.
Oh, greetings, Kalanji. You were talking about how the person was. This is way earlier. You were saying that he was basically coming at you about religion and saying how, where does the rapist go? Where does this person or that person go? And it's funny because it's you show how kind of limited your understanding of things are. You know, when
And that's what I told him. I said, number one, you're not talking to a Christian.
right. So now
So
what?
in talking to a Christian or a Muslim, you may talk about hell, heaven. You expect that answer. And he was shocked by my answer. I said, they both go in the dirt. They go in the ground if they're dead. He was shocked. He was looking, eyes bucked and shit.
Yeah.
I said,
Christians who believe that. So that's even a limited, you know what I'm saying,
right,
understanding of Christianity.
Christianity, right.
Right.
It's an understanding of Baptist Christians.
Right.
You know, well, several Christians believe in heaven and hell anyway, but I think most do, and Muslims do too. But now Jehovah's Witnesses believe in Sheol, the grave.
Right. They
Sheol,
do not
the
believe
grave.
in heaven and hell. Yeah.
Heaven and hell, right. Now, in the African traditions, well, I can speak about Ifa. In Ifa, we don't believe in heaven or hell like that. We believe in the heavens, the cosmos, and the world is the heaven. So the world that you can't see, and all of us have experienced that. The world you can't see. You can't see the wind, but you can feel it. Well, that's how we view the heavens, is the unseen world, and then the world itself is the seen world, and it's the unseen world. But we see them both as physical and not physical. If in the seen world, if I have an idea, I say, I'm gonna create this pillow. I'm gonna create a pillow, and then I get to work, get the materials, get the filling, sew the pillow. I have actualized what I thought. It became reality. It started in the spiritual realm, but then it became physical. All of us do that. All of us do that. Brothers, or sisters, if you look at somebody and you say, damn, they fine, I'm gonna get that. And then you get that. You visually actualize what you were thinking. And then it can go further than that, you know, with the sex and all of that, or marriage. Marriage doesn't just happen. Marriage is in your mind first. The realm of spirit. Then it becomes physical. It becomes actualized. Or not. If she say no, or he say no, then it's not. But we all deal with the two worlds because we're a binary being. Okay. So we deal with two worlds all the time, at all times, every day, every moment. Okay. Got to see y'all on deck just tuning in. All right, cool. So you can go back, Kalanja, and watch the beginning of the show. Well, what I talked about, the show started from a conversation I had with my wife about spookism, but I was going to Fort Belvoir. I was in ROTC and when I was at Howard University. I was going to Fort Belvoir for ROTC. And the guy, it was a guy on the bus. And he said, so are you an atheist? I said, why you ask me that? We said specifically, you're an atheist. I said, no, why you ask me, why you say that? He said, well, because y'all meditate like this, and uh, and in your martial art. I said, we don't meditate like this in my martial art. We do movement meditation, but he said, and so, and you're a good guy, so I know you're not a Satanist because that's satanic. So I know you're an atheist then. I said, no, hell no. I'm not an atheist, and I'm not a Satanist. Not at all. Good morning from the Philippines. Hey, how you doing from the Philippines? Cherry from the Philippines. What have I stumbled into? You stumbled into warrior class.
Where he would hate to see you meditate like that.
I would hate to see me meditate like this too.
Yes.
I would hate to see me meditate just with my hands on my leg. I would hate to. We do moving meditation. I'm well, thank you. Are you a martial artist, Cherry? Maybe you came here from that. I don't know. Or maybe you came here from religion. I spoke about religion from the Philippines. I know many of you all are Catholics. Yeah, both facts, not alternative facts. Right, exactly. I'm on MMA, MMA Spectator. All right, cool. Have you tried your arts in the Philippines? Kali or Eskrima in the Philippines? And speaking of Philippines, so I was in Monterey, California, and I'm an American dissident living in the Philippines. Oh, okay. Okay. So I met some brothers from the Philippines. They adopted me, as a matter of fact. I was at a tournament, and this one of the guys, they were martial artists. One guy says to me, he says, I like your martial art. What you did, man, that's nice. I said, well, thank you. He said, so where you from? I said, well, I'm from Chicago. He said, I was in the military at the time. He says, oh, Cook County? I said, I'm in the city of Cook County, but I never been in Cook County jail. He said, oh, okay, I got some people in Cook County jail. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, hey, and he had a stick on his shoulder. He said, hey, would you like to try your sword against my stick? I looked at his arm, and up his whole arm, it was cuts, like scars from a knife. So I knew this dude had been in combat for real. I said, no, I'm looking at the scars. I mean, I've been in combat too, but I'm like, no, I'm looking at the scars. Hell no. I don't want to try that. Is religion and spirituality different? Yes. So all religions have spirituality in it, but all forms of spirituality do not have religion in it. So I do now. Some people say ATR, African traditional religion. I don't. You can do anything religiously. You can eat pork religiously. You can, buy prostitutes religiously. You can do with anything religiously, but spirituality is different. So spirituality, I do African traditional spirituality, meaning, and that'll be our next episode, the difference between religion and spirituality.
All right. Good one. Thank you, Gene.
Yeah. If the concept of hell exists, we're in it now. Right. I've never been in hell. Well, I've never been dead, but I've never been in the worst hell I've been in has been, well, when I was in jail, that was the worst hell I've ever been in. But I've been in many hells on this earth, but that's the worst hell I've been in. Worst hell. Even so, when I went to jail, I'm talking to the you got to get examined by a doctor and all this. I asked the doctor. I said, he was going to give me an injection, and I said I can't take that because I'm allergic to egg whites. I'm not, but I told him I'm allergic to egg white. Because if you're allergic to egg whites, you can't take injections because all injections have egg whites. And he said, you're an intelligent man. I said, why do you say that? He said, because I know you're not allergic to egg whites, but I got to go by what you say. I said, I am allergic to egg whites. What do you mean? So. But I asked other questions of the doctor. I asked him certain questions. He said, I don't have to answer that. I said, you don't have to answer it. He said, no, because you don't have no rights. You're in jail. You don't have no rights. And that's when that got real for me. In prison, you have rights. But in jail, you have no rights. I say that to say, do all you can to not go to jail. But if you go to jail, know that you don't have no rights. Those motherfuckers can do anything they want to you. Okay. The only reason why he didn't give me the injection, because he didn't want to take no risk. If I am allergic to egg whites, he could have killed me. Now he got to explain himself. He wouldn't have gone to jail because I'd have no rights. But he may have gotten sent away from that jail or suspended or something. I don't know. How's the brother Belay? I came in late. Oh, so you have been on the show, Rabbit Von Doom. Belay's doing fine. In fact, I'll see him tomorrow. So tomorrow we're doing a showing of a movie that me, Ominigi, Belay, many other actors we did. I was the director of the movie. Another brother, Kunle, was the cinematographer. We're doing a showing of that movie tomorrow from 4:30 to 6. So it'll be over in time for folks who watch the Super Bowl to watch it. When I first set up the time, I said 6 to 8 because I don't watch sports like that. So I didn't know it was a Super Bowl. It's that unimportant to me. But I know to some of the people we act with, it's important. So change to 4:30 to 6. But and 6 o'clock the Super Bowl starts. But we're doing that at Belay's house, doing the showing. Didn't the ninjutsu practitioners have a prayer with their skill set? I don't know. You have to ask Ninja Steve. I don't know. I don't know if you were around that long, but we did an episode when we were on the other platform about Ninja Steve. And
during Happily Natural Day, right?
it was during Happily Natural Day, yes. Not last year, but the year before, 2024. We went to Virginia, where it's at, Richmond, Virginia. And we met a martial artist that he took a workshop with me, Rob Doggett. And Rob Doggett, he has a martial arts school in Richmond. I think in Richmond. He does JKD, Jeet Kune Do, and I think Capoeira too. But he took my workshop, and then he said, "Hey, I'd like to take you and Belay out to dinner, and we can talk, further." So we went to dinner at an Indian restaurant, not thinking I was going to meet nobody that does no black man that does no martial arts who works at the restaurant. And Ninja Steve, he does ninjutsu. His name's Steve, and he talked to us for about 2 hours straight, to the point where out of the back, the chefs and all different people are coming out like to hint at him to stop talking to us so they could serve us our food. So if that's still on the other platform we were on, watch it, because it's a funny episode, but it's real. But it was, like Brittany said, it was hilarious. Now I'll wait until Belay comes back, because he hasn't been on here because he's working, and they won't give him this time off. But he I think he said he got to work like a couple more months, and then he can get the time off. This time off. I'll wait until he comes back, and then we'll probably do an episode dealing with Ninja Steve on this platform, because it's interesting. So interesting. When we went last year, we avoided that restaurant like the plague, because I could not deal with waiting 2 hours to get my food no more, because somebody's talking about martial arts. And when he would talk about martial artists, he would talk about known martial artists who I know. And he would say, yeah, so-and-so, I think they did so-and-so. I said, no, they actually did so-and-so. He would just be shocked that I knew this person. So that's Ninja Steve. If it was still on that other platform we were on, check it out. If you don't know what the other platform is, I'm sorry, because I'm not going to name the platform, but there's another platform. It was originally Black Power Media, and then became something else. And then Kalanji came and resurrected Black Power Media. It was Black Power Media Reloaded, and then after a while he got rid of Reloaded title and back to Black Power Media. And that's a story in itself. God damn. That's a story that I'll wait for Kalanji to tell, because it was quite a story. And Kalanji was at Black God damn at Happy Natural Day. He's part of Happy Natural Day. Now, African Spiritual Resistance, that was part of that old platform, and it was so cold. The old platform. No, I think it was Black Power Media at first. African Spiritual Resistance. There was one of the founders of Black Power Media, who's a professor. He was talking about, we need a show on African spirituality. I'm like, motherfucker. We have a show on African spirituality, African spiritual resistance. That was me and my wife doing the show together. Maybe we'll resurrect the show. If Kalanji's, I would say Kalanji's for it, but my wife probably don't have no time now because she's doing so much other stuff. And my wife's a priest too, by the way. So, and she's a much more active priest than I am. I'm an active martial artist. My wife does spiritual consultations every day. She has a Botanica, which is a spiritual store, Botanica. I'll try to get Yalagoon there to do it. Because it was interesting. We were dealing with everything from the Haitian Revolution to getting priests on the show as special guests, all kinds of stuff. Have you heard of Fiman Ong? Fiman Ong. No, I haven't. What is that? And normally they show how long we've been on here, but I don't see the thing for how long the show is going on for. Oh, I see it now. It's going on for, okay, I see. Have you heard of Femin On? Definitely a powerful show. Oh, do you mean African spiritual resistance, or you mean Femin On? Because I don't know what Femin On is. How can we watch it? How can we watch African spiritual resistance? I guess they still got it on the other platform. I don't know. I don't even watch the other platform no more. So I don't know if they have any of our shows on there. But I will try to draft the Yalagoon and get her to do the show. I don't know what Femin Ong is either. Yeah, I don't know. I think Femin Ong means Kalanji in Tagalog. I think it means Kalanji Changa in Tagalog. Kalanji.
Excuse me, huh?
And I'm just joking about that. I don't know whether that's Tagalog or Visayan or what it is. But I know the brother who or sister who posted it, they from the Philippines. Where'd you go? Ominika, to eat a bacon sandwich? Now, for those who don't know,
I ate it religiously. If I did,
right. Ominika is a vegan, so I know damn well she's not eating no kind of bacon.
Seaweed bacon sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually sounds really good.
Freeman Ong was from China and could place a stick between two strips of newspaper and could break the stick without tearing the paper.
Uh-oh.
Oh, jump.
Some chi. Powerful chi.
Does the word class ever wear jewelry? I mean, Monique probably got on earrings right now. She got on jewelry.
You mean like big chains? Like I got bracelets. You talking about like big warrior class medallions? What we talking about? Iced out.
No, that'd be cold. Iced out warrior class medallion, that'd be cold.
That would be cold. We need to work on that.
Right. Well, get the chain in wood though. I ain't trying to impress nobody.
It would have to be iron, Baba.
Yeah, now iron would work.
Yeah.
That would work. So I have on an iron. This is for Ogun. I have on an iron bracelet. Now I gotta not use the African term, but so I got an iron bracelet on for now.
How you know I don't steal rap, Petty Gibbs? How you know that?
And you'll see. So I'm from an Ogun family. So and Ogun is the god of iron and war. You'll see me with it on. You see my wife, my daughters. It's on their ankles. I didn't want to put mine on my ankle. I don't know. That's I don't know. I guess male chauvinism or whatever you want to call it. So they wear ranklets. I wear anklet. I mean, they wear anklets. I wear ranklet. Oh my! When he died, his students surrounded him for 48 hours and wouldn't let the police have access because they believed he was going to be resurrected. I went to school with his daughter.
Wow.
Did his daughter think he was going to be resurrected?
This is the person that's in the Philippines, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're in the Philippines, but he said Freeman Ong. He was Chinese.
Oh, okay. That sounds so familiar to me, Freeman Ong.
When he died, his students surrounded him for 48 hours and wouldn't let the police have access because they believed he was going to be resurrected. I went to school with his daughter. But one, did his daughter believe he was going to be resurrected? And two, was he resurrected? Did he get up and, get to doing dancing and job? Now,
oh, that is. Ooh.
My wife showed me a video, and it was ridiculous. And we both it was this from Nigeria. It was this pastor. He was praying over this body. The mother was there, supposed to be mother, and he's praying. I want you to get up. And the body's in the casket. It opened his eyes. Then it sat up. And then he got two of the deacons to help the body out of the casket. And it got out of the casket. Then it started dancing. And the mother started rolling on the floor, catching the Holy Ghost. I said, number one, if I had a loved one, if my mother got out of that casket,
right,
I'd have ran. I got the hell out of there. But afterwards, if my siblings or whoever was brave enough said, oh, she's still out of the casket. I don't know if I'd have caught no Holy Ghost rolling on the floor, but I mean, woo, I know I'd have been happy like a mug, but that ain't happening. Yeah, wrist wear me too. Oh, you got an Ogun chain on your wrist, Petty Gibbs? Oh shit. Oh shit, we kindred spirits.
Oh boy.
And so for those who don't know, in Isheshe, which is traditional Ifa, Ogun you don't wear no Ide, Eleke on your neck for Ogun. You don't wear iron. Ogun is the spirit of war. You don't wear the spirit of war around your neck. You wear it on your wrist or your ankle, and it's an iron chain. Okay, you not a beaded. So Elekes are a beaded glass, and you see a person with 100 Elekes sometimes, but not 100. We're really like 10. But
It's almost like being iced out.
right, but the you'll see people. They say this is Ogun wearing the green and black Eleke on their neck. Green and black is not Ogun's colors. Ogun's color is black. So green and black is not Ogun's colors. Now I'm talking Isheshe, traditional Ifa. In traditional Ifa, we wear also brown and green, because that is Orumala's colors, but the brown and green Eleke. Ide. Ide is one on your wrist. Eleke is one on your neck. Ide, brown and green. And there's a story about why we wear the Eleke. And it's a story about protecting your life. Now, who had asked, do we wear jewelry? Who was that?
That's Petty Gibbs.
Oh, it's Petty Gibbs. Oh, yeah, wristwear, me too. Okay, so I assume that in addition to us being kindred spirit, you got some wristwear for us. Maybe some with the logo for Warrior Class on there or something. That'd be nice.
Maybe they were thinking in terms of self-defense jewelry or self-protection type jewelry. I don't know.
I don't know. Now, self-protection type jewelry.
Brass
Now,
knuckles.
You want to wear some brass knuckles on your neck, but
you could wear them on your. You could wear them on your hand. That's jewelry.
yeah, but that wouldn't be jewelry. But that you could. Now,
like a 4-finger ring.
Belay wears he wears a lot of leckes too, but he wears you can say it's like a necklace with a karambit, a knife on his neck. He wears that on his neck. Hell, you could say I wear jewelry on my pocket, or in my coat pockets. I have jewelry all day with weapons. It was elementary school when she came to the U.S. I know his son has a martial arts school in the U.S. It was long ago, but I remember his son in first grade throwing the entire playground one by one. Boy, that playground couldn't fight. He threw the whole playground around one by one. Let me see. Well, I could have thrown my whole playground one by one. I've been tired like a mug in my elementary school. But his father could snap some held. It was descended by what, feathers or something. he could do so. Hey, let me see. The best quality talismans for protection are electrum made of the 7 metals. Okay, thelema or whatever, thelema, whatever your name is, cool. So for us on here, we don't claim to know everything, but we know a lot of things. Now, a talisman, well, I don't know. I don't know what the best quality talisman is, but I know talismans in Ifa, if you want to call it a talisman, um, the Eleke or the Ide, it always means something. It has a meaning, and it's connected to a spirit. And there's work done on those talismans to connect it to that spirit. So,
Baba, does that happen with lekes also?
yes. So Elekes are soaked in omero or omiero, which is herbal water, herbal bath, specific herbal bath, and then you can wear and the prayers are on that bath, herbal bath, stuff like that, and then you put the leke on,
So leke is not something you should just be going to Botanica or other places and just buying.
Well, you can buy it, but for it to be consecrated, you need work done.
Yeah, bro.
So at my wife's shop, she sells Eleke and Ide, I believe. But if you want it consecrated, you have to, by her, you have to come in, at a later time at the shop, and she'll do the work to consecrate it for you.
Yeah, bro.
Now, with like this chain, you don't just buy the chain and put it on, and that's it. You buy the chain. We cut it to the length of your wrist. Then we soak it, do prayers on it, stuff like that. And then after several days, it's ready to go on your wrist. And it has the power that you need in there. Talisman of the pentagram or seal of Solomon. The something symbolizes spirit's dominion over 4 elements of matter, and 6 pointed star symbols symbolize the central sun. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely something to think about.
And learn something. Now, what religion is that from? Or what form of spirituality is that from?
Spiritual system.
There are a few videos of Freeman on. Is it Freeman or Freeman? Because you wrote Freeman one time, you wrote Freeman twice. Freeman on, but the ones that exist are telling. I heard he would fight sumo. I also heard he lowered his level and broke the in one move, ending the fight in 1 second. No. Freeman on was bad. Freeman on, boy, woo. It's Freeman. Okay.
Okay.
Gnostic Christianity. Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right. So we have come to the end of our episode. Be safe in your homes. Be safe out on the street.
Yeah, bro.
Train yourself to the best of your ability.
Yeah, bro.
hold on to whatever spirituality you have. All right. And stay black or whatever it is that you may be. Peace.
Peace.
And thank you, Eugene. Another great show. Always love and respect work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel Briggs.
Thank you, family.
Thank you. All right. Peace and blessings. Now I don't see. Oh, boy, they changed this thing long time. Masheo. Yep, Masheo.